sunlight on one half and the blue on the other. It's just kind of a neat shot, even though it still needs some work as far as effects. Got a shot of Reapy Cheap standing up top, I guess, gazing east, which is cool. I hope we have a shot of him standing on the dragon prow gazing east. That was something I really remember, an image from the book. But a lot of people say that like he looks really fake here. I think he looks okay. I think there are far worse effect shots in this trailer and in the other trailer. I think he looks okay. I think there are worse finish shots in Prince Caspian. And my main issue here is not so much with the effects, but with how Reapy Cheap's design. I mean, his coloring has changed a little here. He looks whiter, I guess, to make it look like he's older. I mean, come on, it's only 3 years later. I don't have to make him look older, I don't think. Unless maybe in Mouse years he's older, I don't know. But I guess this kind of touches the nerve a little bit because I freaked out a little bit. When I was on the set of Prince Caspian in Prague, I saw off to the side behind the camera this stuffed animal of Reapy Cheap, which they often use as stand-ins for the actors to replace CG characters and for lighting reference sometimes too. And it was completely white. And I guess this is just a nitpicky fanboy thing, but when I think of Reapy Cheap, who's one of the most memorable characters in the series, if not children's literature, I immediately imagine this illustration by Pauline Baines, and I love the way Lewis describes him with the black fur and the gold and everything and the feather, and of course they have the feather here. And for Prince Caspian, I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and admit that, yeah, solid black and solid white doesn't look as good, very good. It's always kind of a challenge to portray on film for some reason. It's one of those things. One thing to say it in the book, it's another thing to visualize it. So I was like, okay, I reluctantly conceded you can't have a pure black Reapy Cheap, and it was under protest that I finally conceded that, because I just remember Reapy Cheap that way. But it was fine. They got the character right, you know. So I was like, okay, cool, that's Reapy Cheap. I can take it. But now here it's like, oh, now they're making him like white, which is what I was all concerned about for Prince Caspian. It's like obviously, as long as I get the character right, that's the important thing. But just a Narnia geek fanboy nitpicky thing. Like that's not. They got the feather. Hopefully, they'll get the character right, so it's still Reapy Cheap. But just one of those things that kind of. It's like Caspian's beard, you know. Just I can't really see him as Caspian anymore because of it, you know. But moving on. Oh, now here again we have, just like we saw in the first trailer, them kind of messing with everything Lewis wrote about stars. Yet in this book, you have this idea that a star would be a retired and come to rest and get younger and younger every day, and then join the dance of the sky again, or whatever, like it says in the book. That's so cool. That's so much cooler than this. Apparently, she's gonna be changing back and forth. The way Lewis just to look cool, I guess. Like, what story point does this serve? Like, sorry, I'm rambling here. I just don't know what to make of this. The effects definitely look better here. In the first trailer, you had that shot of her turning into a star, and it was sped up about 300%. It looked really fake. And here, at least, it looks more interesting. But the way Lewis does it is just so much cooler and more. It's one of those things that they would never been able to discover unless they sailed to the world's end. That's what's kind of cool about it, I guess. And it's just her be able to transform at will is just not as interesting. And I'm not sure why they're doing it. That's all I can say at this point. Also, in the foreground there, you can see the food on the table, if you look closely, which is cool. They'll have that scene. They'll have the banquet that the crew doesn't dare eat from. So there you go. They've got that part from the book. But it's irked me. This is kind of annoying. Like, what story point does this serve? We have no context, no idea. Maybe I'll end up liking this. I don't know. But right now, it's like everything Lewis wrote about stars is so much more interesting than this. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll feel it differently when we see why they've actually done it. Then, of course, you've got the wide shot. The two shots at the end of the first Dawn Treader trailer caused everyone to freak out, especially Jim Fan. Actually, my first thought when I saw this was, oh my gosh, Jim Fan is going to lose her freaking mind. It's like, what are they doing? Obviously, it looks like some kind of a ceremony or something, and Susan's holding her bow, and I cannot imagine where this is. Is this maybe some kind of a flashback or a vision of when Lucy's reading the magician's book? Maybe this is a flashback that takes place about 5 years after the crowned kings and queens during their reign, which would make Lucy about the same age she is in the flashback she'd be during Dawn Treader. There aren't very many stories you could get away with this kind of thing. It's kind of funny. I have no idea where they are, what they're doing. This only makes it more confusing. What is Susan doing using her bow? Is there some connection with that? And Lucy using her bow in another shot in the trailer? No idea. What are Peter and Susan doing in this movie? We've heard from reliable sources, I think, that their role is brief, so not too concerned about that. But I just get the feeling, like the only reason they want them in the movie is so they can be in the trailer. And all four are going to be back. It's misleading either way. Maybe I'll like this. Maybe it'll be fine. Maybe I'll hate it. I don't know. But right now I'm just totally baffled by this, and just even more freaked out and more irked by the fact that Fox is including this in the trailer, even though they don't have a big role in the movie. At least I sure hope they don't. We're pretty sure they don't. Speaking of baffling, this next shot of what appears to be Lucy, as best as we can tell, it's obviously the island of the Duffers. They're on that Tim Burton-y kind of island with the duffel puds. It looks like she's walking through a door of some kind in the air, a door in the air, like in the Prince Caspian, maybe, I don't know. But I didn't know what to make of it until I read online. I think it was Fantastic Kitty who said, "Oh, she's the looks like the house is invisible too." So I was like, "Oh," when she said that, I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." I didn't like it, but I was like, "Okay, that makes sense," as what we're seeing here. But then it's like, well, wait a minute, why do they still have plants and stuff? I guess it's magic; they can do anything. But why do they still have plants and stuff where the house would be? If it was really an invisible house, wouldn't there like be an empty lot where the house was? So I don't know what they're doing here. I guess you would think it must have some kind of connection to Lucy having to go and say the spell to make them visible again. I guess I like how in the book you go to this what you think is an uninhabited island, expecting to find some kind of magic, crazy thing as you get closer to the world's end. Instead, you find a completely normal place where the grass is trimmed, everything's really kept, and there's a very normal civilized house, but there's no one to be seen. That's kind of creepy. You see the signs of life, the signs of a very civilized people living there, but no one's to be seen because they're invisible, of course. And so I love that idea. It's almost like making it a little too magical. I don't know. I guess I feel like they're going a little hard for cool, trying a little too hard for cool visuals here. But I don't know. Maybe I'll end up liking this. Again, these effects certainly need some work. It looks like a freaking matte painting at this point. So I don't think you do the finished effects again. Like almost none of the effects in this trailer are finished. But not sure what to make of that. Just weird. Another one of those weird things that we're seeing. Again, this is the production of the weird. Another wide shot of the crew here, which again, really relieved. This looks like a predominantly human crew. I think that's the way it should be. Again, just to restate my feelings on there being creatures on board the ship, I guess it does make sense from a visual standpoint to go ahead and represent the Narnia culture that was established at the end of Prince Caspian a little more, where Narnians and Telmarines merge. Guess that makes sense, but you got to keep it a relatively normal crew finding fantastical lands, not a fantastical crew finding fantastical lands. So. All right, go ahead and throw on a Minotaur too, whatever, or a Faun, but let's keep it a predominantly human crew. And here's another really encouraging shot. They got that gold plate of Aisling, which looks kind of similar to what Peter holds in the treasure chamber in the Prince Caspian movie. And maybe this is where they're going to use this for the scene at the end, where Caspian in the book says that the lion on the wall came to life and was talking to me, and that's when it tells Caspian that you have to let the others go to the world's end. You've got to stay behind. And so that's really cool. Maybe we'll use it for that. Love the set. Love the lighting here. It's really cool. I love the way it looks. It looks real. It doesn't look cheapy or fake. This is a really cool shot. Just love the way it's lit. And one of the most interesting things about this is that you see Susan's horn down there at the bottom. And it's not there just like laying it on a table like, oh, just in case we have to call for help. It looks like they're really treating it with respect, which is cool. That's one of the reasons I don't like Caspian using Rindon. And some of the spy videos we saw Caspian using Rindon just for fun. Like it looks like he's just having a play for fun sword fight with Edmund, and the others are cheering him on. It's one thing to use these gifts at great need, like Lucy does the cordial, or maybe the horn at great need, but it's another thing that, let's just use Rindon, haha, this will be fun. It's like, these gifts should be treasured and treated with respect. In the book, it talks about Caspian bringing along the gifts, and presumably all the gifts. The cordial is the only one we see, but it can be assumed that all the gifts are on board the ship, as a sign of respect and honor, that these are things that we should bring to the world's end as treasures, Like, it's such an honor to go to the world's end. We should bring these artifacts, these important pieces with us. So bringing them was actually a sign of reverence. Actually using them, kind of another issue. But here we're seeing it treated with respect, honor, reverence, awe. Really important, so I like that. This is really cool. And this is the part in the trailer where Caspian starts his whole...